So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us in this new era of virtual fundraising and discussing very important topics in our community. My name's Kiki Miller. I've been in Coeur d'Alene since the 70s. I've owned my own businesses here for 25 plus years. I've been very involved in many civic organizations, nonprofit work, and I'm currently serving you as a Coeur d'Alene City Council member. One of the passions and former boards I've been on is our local domestic violence and sexual assault prevention group. That organization is called Safe Passage. So what we're doing here today is having some conversations with some community leaders who have a vested interest in stopping domestic violence in our region. So up first with me today is Detective Josh Gillmore. He's from the Coeur d'Alene Police Department. And bear with us with the glitchy stuff. I'm sure they have some super secret video things going on in the police, and we've got little glitches happening, but we're gonna get through that part of this and listen to what Josh has to say. So Josh, what is your role with the Coeur d'Alene Police Department?
Thanks. I'm currently assigned with the Special Victims Unit here at the Police Department that consists of 2 domestic violence detectives, 2 detectives that work sexual assaults, both children and adult, and then we have a couple that are working child abuse and vulnerable adult cases. Out of that group, we have 2 that actually handle all our digital evidence forensics. So that would be like if we get a cell phone or a computer or other some kind of electronic device that they can pull data from. So those guys are really busy right now pulling stuff off that. Currently, I investigate sexual abuse cases with both adult and children, and I'm a trained forensic child interviewer.
Wow. So has there been, when you investigate these types of cases, that's kind of a loaded question, what do your cases look like? But has there been a spike with this COVID operation with digital issues, and what is it typically, what investigation of a case, just run us through what typically your department and your staff would do.
Okay. With my caseload, occasionally, fortunately not very often, we get called out to a scene, like patrols handling an incident. Sometimes they may need additional resources or help, so sometimes we'll go out to the scene. Other times, most of our job consists of a lot of follow-up, calling victims, suspects, parents if they're involved, other family members, friends, trying to get a good look at the whole case. But while we're doing that, we want to get the victims assistance as well. So we have our own PD advocate along with Safe Passages advocates. They pick up a lot of the load for us. They're looking at, they can show up to scene, do scene crisis intervention. They can help them fill out paperwork, help them safety plan with things at the house if needed. They also are a great resource for orientation to the criminal justice system because once it gets to us, it doesn't move as fast as most people would like. So the advocates are a great benefit with that, telling them the process, what's going to happen next, letting them know about court, maybe assisting them through court. So that's good. They're an important role and they really help us out with that part.
And I can imagine that is quite the process, especially if you're dealing with children and people who've been traumatized. And I can't imagine how many cases does your unit have, like at any given time, or do you have some data on that you can share with us?
Right now, we have 23 active sexual abuse cases, 24 child abuse, and we're running about 10-ish on the domestics right now. Oh,
so that is, that seems like it's just something I guess we all get our television reference of that just all get solved within an hour. And that's definitely, from what you're saying, not how that system works. So what are some things about your child abuse cases that you think people maybe don't know about how the process works, or maybe they don't understand?
I think some of it is if a child disclosed, they don't think we'll be able to prosecute the suspect if the child chooses not to talk to us later on. That's not always accurate. I think the other part is it doesn't move near as fast as what people hope. You described the TV show earlier. I think they're hoping for a quicker resolution so they can get on healing and moving on and getting counseling. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes they take a while, take several months. And then with the court process, it could be a year out before we even go to court. So that's a frustrating part. But with that, still want people to report the incidents and definitely talk about it. because we can help, especially with the advocates. Even though this has taken a long time, they can get into some counseling for both the parents and the child. So we're working with them all the time.
And so during that whole process, that waiting period, are you in connection with the advocates that support these children and families during this whole process?
Yes. Especially with our PD advocate, it's nice because she's close to us. She's in the same room. Yes, she can keep up with them. She can keep the status of the case, where it's going. If something new comes up, she can let me know. Or if I'm working the case and they need some assistance, I can have her follow up with them, or even pass it on the safe passage, let them follow up with certain services. So
that once somebody does call and a case is started, they aren't just left in the dark. They do have some support and through multiple sources. So that's really something that I think is important for the community to know. And with all the awareness that's been built, that they know that they're going to get some help if they do report these cases. So along that line, what are some of the biggest barriers you think as a detective you face when you're processing some and investigating these cases?
Specifically with the children, sometimes the younger age, they may disclose to a parent or a trusted adult. When they get to an interview with the Children's Advocacy Center, they may not disclose anything. They may just climb up and decide they're not going to talk to anybody that day. And that's okay, but it can be frustrating. We just let it happen. If the child chooses not to talk to us right then, that's okay. We'll just set up another interview for a later date and give the parents some resources on what to do if the child suddenly starts talking about it, like right after they, maybe they leave and they're more comfortable with mom saying what happened.
Right.
To help us.
So you have to really go through, I would imagine, a lot of training and a lot of patience and processing when working with these younger kids.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. Wow. It's all up to them. We want them to feel safe, feel like, yes, they can say whatever they want. And sometimes that may not happen right away.
Yeah, it does. I can imagine it takes time to get through a traumatic situation like that. So what makes you passionate about doing these very difficult types of investigations and probably hearing and dealing with some things that have to weigh pretty heavy on anyone's heart that you have to get through? So what makes you passionate about that?
I think these are, all cases are important, but especially with the special victims units back here, with the child abuse, the domestics, the sexual abuse. It's about helping these guys get through that traumatic event. It's a long process. The ultimate goal is a successful prosecution. And that when that happens, once everything comes together after a very long period of time, it makes everything worth it on that end. Because you've done some good work. If the prosecution doesn't happen, we're still working with the families to help them move on, help them deal with the traumatic incident. And the case is always, in my opinion, they can be open. They can always call back if they learn new information. Absolutely. Follow up with it.
Right. Well, I know that there's many of us in the community that certainly appreciate what you do and what your team does to help these victims in this case. And we were talking about the Child Advocacy Center, CAC gets called. What kind of impact does that have on your cases as you become aware of them?
That's a great resource for us. Most kids, parents don't even want to come to the police department to be talked to. The most kids aren't going to want to come here either. It's very intimidating to
even do a walkthrough and to just view. It's intimidating. I can imagine.
We're seen as an authority figure. So the CAC provides a safe area, a safe place, a neutral interviewer who can talk to these kids, which is very valuable to us because the kids tend to open up with the interviewers that are down there. And sometimes they can get more information than we can. And it's great. And while the kid is in the interview, they have their own staff there that will help the parents, with, maybe we need to get the child some medical attention down the road or help them with finding a counselor. Those are tough right now. And just to try and give the parents this sense of, well-being. Hey, we're working on this. There's lots of resources out there to help them out.
So that center creates the safe environment for them that might not otherwise be available by just a regular investigation room or interview room. So So what can us as the community, who we're all want to be supportive, what can we do to help help the detectives, help the police department, all of the law enforcement that's involved?
If you know of an abuse, report it. Let us investigate it. Don't wait. If, I guess that's it makes it more of a challenge sometimes the longer that a case goes on or the abuse goes on, to follow up and investigate that, because sometimes witnesses are gone, suspects no longer in the picture. It could be clear across the country. But believe the child and call us, get us out there right away. And then we can start that ball rolling, especially with the assistance the advocates can provide. Right.
Well, great. I won't keep you a lot longer, Detective Gillmore, but I appreciate, thanks for working through these little glitches we've had today and in this new virtual world that we live in. But we do appreciate everything that you do, and please thank the rest of your team for us. And thanks for being here with me today and sharing some information about how important it is that you've said to report abuse if you suspect it. Don't wait, do it right away. And that we do have support for folks out there like the Advocacy Center and the advocates that you work with, so they won't be alone through this. And we are here. We do want to help. So
Absolutely.
Thanks again for being here. Have a great rest of your day. And I will see all the rest of you again on our next interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.